Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is Sunday. It's 12 o'clock, which means it's time for a Q&A. This is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you very much for all the questions that you've asked. I really appreciate it. Please remember, if you want to have any questions answered on this Q&A, all you got to do is leave them in the comments to this video and I will get to them the following week. I normally film on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. If you haven't got it in by then, there's a very good chance I'll miss it. If I do miss it, please ask it again and I'll try and get back to it the following week. Also, please remember that I don't look at the questions beforehand because I tend to find that the best answer you're going to get is if I just have if I just answer you off the cuff. But if it's a really good question, a lot of the time I will create a video about that later on in the channel. Also, don't forget, if you want to subscribe to Netrix and join the hundreds of people that have already done so, please go to www.thenetrix.com and you can sign up for a month and try it out and just keep going as long as you like it. We're just adding on Monday 10 new tricks. 10 new tricks are going up on Monday, along with a whole bunch of new marketing courses as well. So there's never been a better time to join the Netrix. Anyway, enough about that. My sales pitch is over. We got a whole bunch of questions this week. My God, we got loads of them. So without further ado, let's get straight into this week's Q&A. Okay, so the first question is from Floodrick Pell. Floodrick Pell says, hi Craig, would love to hear your thoughts about doing things on the offbeat. I find it remarkable how much you can do in the offbeat during performances and get away with it under the spectators' noses. Sometimes it completely eradicates any need to do sleight of hand while you could possibly load, switch and elephants. I feel like this is something which is rarely discussed or even utilised. For example, in the vast collection of books over the years, I've never seen it mentioned once. You're absolutely 100% correct. And myself as a performer, especially when I'm performing in a close-up situation, for me, using the offbeat is absolutely one of the strongest tools in my repertoire. I love doing stuff when the audience are relaxed. And for those people that don't know what the offbeat is when the audience aren't really paying attention to what you're doing. That might be because they perceive it to be the end of the trick, so they're relaxed, they're not paying attention as closely. It might be that they're looking somebody else and misdirection is being employed. It could be any one of a million things, but basically the bottom line is it's when the audience aren't really paying attention to what you're doing, you can then get away with so much. And honestly, I think it's the mark of a seasoned performer that's got experience under their belts, that they can use that element of the offbeat effectively. I know a lot of performers, especially newer performers, really get nervous at doing something that is considered ballsy. But there's so much you can do with it. There's so much you can get away with it. The perfect example is I was at the Wessex Magic Convention a couple of weeks ago lecturing, and James Brown was there. And I was spending a lot of time chatting to James, and one thing he was talking about was the classic pass. And he told me a story about how he went to a magic convention a few years ago now, and there were these younger magicians that were like teenagers, and they were doing all fancy flourishing. And they said to James, hey, let me see your pass. And they were showing each other their pass, and it was like invisible or close to invisible. And James said, let me see your pass. And he created a moment of misdirection. He created an offbeat. I can't remember what it was. It was like, oh, what, you want to see my pass? And they looked up at him and said, yeah. And he said, well, I've already done it. Look. And he gave them the deck, and the card had, he'd done an actual pass with the deck of cards. And they said, well, that's cheating. I wasn't watching. And James said, that's exactly my point. And that is basically the whole thing about the offbeat. It's doing the move when nobody is expecting the move to be done. Because they're not looking, and it might be because they're not looking because something else has happened. It might be, like I say, because they've perceived that the trick has ended. But that moment where they're not looking and they're relaxed and their guard is down, that is an offbeat. And, I have literally spent ages waiting for that offbeat to happen. So, I've got a move that I want to do, and I knew that if they were watching me perform, I would have, I would be seen. So I just wait, and half the time it's waiting until you know that you can get away with whatever it is that you're wanting to do. So you see a lot of my coin routines. I do a lot of coin routines where coins are just appearing on the table. Tommy Wonder is a perfect example of this. He's loading bags underneath cups, he's loading pom-poms underneath cups. That's another example. It's just about using the offbeat. And this is probably something that we could put a whole video on, and I could spend a lot of time thinking about points of how to actually help use the offbeat. But genuinely, if you want to improve as a performer, you want to use the offbeat. You really do want to be able to use that offbeat effectively. Because, I mean, if you've seen my card in the box routine, in my card in the box routine, which is based on James Brown's card in the box routine, actually, there's several phases that are different, but it's based on James's routine from his original Fancy a Pot of Jam DVD set. There's moments on there where the deck's going under the box, the card's going under the box, the deck's going inside the box. And, you know, people say to me, when do you load a deck in a box? Well, you load a deck in a box when nobody's looking. And that's basically all it is. You load the deck in the box when nobody's looking. Again, I was doing a corporate event a little while ago, and there was a magician in the audience. And I did the card in the box routine, and he said, oh, I didn't see the card. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything happen. How did you get the deck inside there? And I was like, well, watch again. And he watched a second time, and I said, don't let me misdirect you. Don't, you know, get carried away with the on-beat or the off-beat. Just watch me. And all I do is I blatantly put the cards in the box. I blatantly put the cards under the box, but nobody sees anything because of the effective use of the offbeat. So, I mean, the big piece of advice I can give you is not to be scared to use the offbeat. Understand, you know, and it really just comes through experience, and it just comes through performance. It's flight time. It's going out and performing in front of audiences again and again and again, and recognizing certain elements and recognizing certain things. And you'll know when you can create an offbeat and create an onbeat, and you know all of that, and that's what allows you to do it effectively. Now, there's going to be people on this channel that have never seen my card in the box routine before. I'm going to play it now. And so you can watch it and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. It's actually taught, and on my Penguin Live, which is going live at the end of the month, I actually teach my card in the box routine, and I actually teach all about the on-beat and the off-beat, and I go into this in great detail. To be honest, just learning about this is worth the price of the Penguin Live, in my opinion. But I'm going to play the video for you now. I'm going to play a video of me performing card in the box so you can see exactly what I'm talking about effective use of an offbeat. I want you to watch this, and I want you to look at the moments that I actually, you know, take a step back and when I'm loading stuff into the box. Nobody's watching, even though I've got a big crowd around me. I'll probably do a longer video on this, but if you want to know more about it, I talk about it in great detail on my Penguin Live when I'm talking about the card in the box. But it's something that really every person should try and master. Right, okay, here we go. Before I do this, I have something to give you, sir. What I need you to do is hold on to my phone. Now, the reason I ask you to hold on to my phone is because, frankly, out of everybody here, you look like the most trustworthy.
Or technologically incompetent.
No, all that, yeah. What I want you to do is take it, we'll put it, oh look, it's not been opened up yet. There you go, we'll put it in there. There we go. New suit? It looks good. Right, here we go. Thank you.
I'm trusting nothing.
I can tell. Right, okay, here we go. So, before we start, do you want to give the cards a shuffle? Or do you trust me? You don't trust me. Do you want to shuffle them? When you finish shuffling them, by the way, put them back in the original order, because that'll help the trick now, to be honest. I'm joking, it's a joke. It's not a very good, remember, Piglet, Pooh? Yeah, it's a joke.
If he shuffles them while you're not looking.
You know what? Do I come to wherever you work and mess with you?
Sorry, I said that.
Hang on, this gentleman wants me to look away while you shuffle the card. I'm fine with that, because I get paid by the hour. You do what you want, mate. Can we finish? Are we done? What you just did, by the way, is an overhand shuffle. 9 times out of 10 when you do this, this is called an overhand shuffle. Now, magicians, they go a little bit further. They do this. This is called a waterfall shuffle. You've probably seen one of those before.
Oh, you can table.
Well, you can always tell a really good magician. They do something called a pharaoh shuffle. That's when you butt the cards together at one end, which is nice, because you can hold the cards with one hand and do that.
Oh.
Hardest shuffle of the lot. This one right here, where you cut the deck with one hand, you shuffle the deck with one hand, and you do everything with one hand. That's the reason I had no girlfriend all the way through uni, just so you know. I know, isn't it terrible? Are you a football fan, sir?
No.
No, are you a football fan? What team do you support?
Liverpool.
Sorry?
Liverpool.
I heard you first time, I'm just sorry. Do you want to see the Liverpool shuffle? The official, I won't give you the cards, you'll nick them, but I'll show you the Liverpool shuffle. Watch, here we go, look at this, watch.
Doesn't really do anything, to be honest. Could be worse. Look, this is the Villa Shuffle going down. Anyway, you're a Villa fan. Your fault. Right, okay, here we go. You're going to grab a card for me if you can. I'm going to spread them out. Take a number card, not a picture card. Any card with a number on, so not a Jack, Queen, or a King. Okay, anyone? Not that one. I'm stuck. There you go. Grab it out. And then when you've got the card, show the card to all your friends. Apparently I'm not your friend. I thought we were bonding over this magical experience. Not, it seems, that's fine. And then I'm going to give you a pen, and what I want you to do is write your name on the face. Not on the back, on the face. Not on your face, on the face of the card, just to clarify. There you go, big letters. And then underneath, put your bank account number and sort code. That would be... I'm not going to do that, I can tell. There we go. Are we done? I'll take the pen back, because that's how I got it. Thank you. And we're going to, this is where things get interesting. You can put the card back in the deck. Just say stop. Cool. Put the card back there. So guys, I'm going to show you the difference between sleight of hand and real magic. Now, have you guys heard of sleight of hand before?
Yeah.
It means the hand is faster than the eye. Gather around, gather around. This is sleight of hand. I'm going to take one card. What's your name, by the way? Lovely name. I'm going to take one card out of the pack, Laura. This card right here is a 2 of diamonds. Is that your card? One down, 51 to go. It's a long trick. It takes a while. It's a long trick, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
We have all afternoon.
Yeah, good. Most magicians do this face down. I'm going to do it face up. Laura, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the card and wave it over the card box. Watch that too. When I wave it in the right spot right there, it actually changes into the 6 complete with your name. No, that's why I got into magic, that reaction right there. That's the bit where you go, ooh. Ooh. Congratulations on the single most sarcastic group I've ever heard in my life. That's not real magic. Real magic is slightly different. This is real magic. Take half the cards for me, Laura. Very good. And spread them out like a magician. Like a bad magician. But that's okay.
It's functional. Functional.
That's good. That's good.
She's been on for a second.
Yeah, I can tell. You've had at least 3 bottles, right? Look, I'm going to put the 6 about halfway down. This is going to get interesting now. What I'd like you to do is give the cards a shuffle. And then when you finish shuffling them, put them right there on the... Wow. Wow.
It's clearly not a gamble.
No, there's a technical term for that in magic. It's called crap. There we go. Put them right back there. Put them right back there. There we go. I would love to see what you've done with the whole pack. Right, okay. So there's no way I can cheat now because you shuffle badly, but you shuffle. So watch, this is the move. Watch, no cheating. All I do is this. Now when I do that, what happens is one card flies up in the air invisibly. It does 6 somersaults, I count it. And even though the box has been on the table the whole time, check this out. Laura underneath the box has 1 card. Take it, turn it over, Laura. Show everyone. It's the one with her name on it. No. Come on. Look at the look. No. Now, I can't tell you how that works, but I can tell you how it doesn't work. This is what most people think I do. Laura, they think I take the sign card, put it down on the table, and then when you guys aren't looking, I put the box on top. Be honest, is that what you thought I did? No. Logically, it's the only thing I could do, but I don't do that. Laura, push it in for me. Watch, this is the move. That's all I do. And I do that, it goes up in the air. 6 up. Well, you get the idea, Laura. It's underneath the box. Take it, turn it over, show everyone. If it's a card, they're going to go crazy. Come on, people! Now, look, do you see the signature?
Yeah.
That guarantees this is your card, Laura, unless she's got a habit of signing 6 of diamonds. Laura, watch the card. Goes halfway down. Say go, Laura.
Go.
Did you see it go? Not the card, the whole pack. Look under the box. What?
That is the best one.
Look, one more time, test conditions. Look, there's nothing underneath the box. Laura, put your finger gently on top.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to put the card down in the middle, and it's still going to go underneath the box, even though your finger's on. Yes. I know, stop, just put it in there. Thanks for the commentary. Now, look.
It's in there.
Right, now look, if you think I've cheated, you can have a tiny peek underneath. I'm a little bit offended by that, Laura. Thanks. Right, here we go. Watch. Here we go. If I told you it was under there now, would that be a good trick?
It would be a
Have a look.
good trick.
Yeah, that would have been good. I'm not that good. That would have been amazing. But I did go one step further, Laura, because now there's 1 card inside the box.
What?
1 card.
Shit.
I know, right? Take it, turn it over. If that's your card, they're going to go crazy. Turn it over, show them. Yes, come on. Because every trick needs a big finish, Laura. Do you want me to do this in 1, 2, or 3 seconds? It's your choice.
Go on now.
1 second. Watch this. 1. Laura, did you see it go?
No.
That's when every single card in the pack vanishes except for the 6, Laura. And the reason is over here in the box, where there was 1 card. You're not going to believe this, right? That is every single card in the pack. Go crazy! But you know what? When you go home and tell people about this, you won't tell people about the card going into the box. You won't tell people about the card going under the box. You'll tell people that right from the very beginning, I had a wallet in my pocket. And inside the wallet, inside the zippered compartment, there's one thing and one thing only, and that's a card, not just any card, but it would be a card with Laura's name on it. Give Laura a big, huge round of applause. But before we did any of this, do you remember what we did at the very, very beginning of the trick? No. That's what you have at the end of the trick. I gave you a phone. Do you remember that, sir? Take out the phone. Now, what I want you to do is stand up, Laura. And, sir, hold your hand out for me. Very good. I'm going to try and get Laura, I'm going to try and get your card into the phone. Not on top of the phone, not underneath the phone for the big finish. Inside the phone. Now, Laura, your card goes about halfway down. Oh, she's standing up as well. Come on. Everyone's gathering around now. Push it in for me. Very good. And what I need you to do, if you can, is cover up the phone so I can't get to it. Very good. Here we go. With 2 hands. With 3 hands. No. What is it with you people? Right, here we go. Watch. Did you feel that?
No.
Story of my life.
I felt a tremor.
It was the curry last night. Sorry about that. Lift up your hands. There you go. Not on top, not underneath, inside. Check this out, guys. First of all, this is my family, dog, wife, and baby. You can guess which is which. I'm not helping. Now, it's not that funny. Look, I unlock the phone. Check this out. Look, there is a folded up card underneath the screen of the phone, and it's actually your card, Laura. Now, I know you don't believe me. The only way to prove it is to pull it out. Watch this. 1, 2, 3. Laura, you're going to take that. If that's your card, they're going to go absolutely crazy. Take it, open it, and show everyone. Laura's card, come on! And Laura, you can take this and you can keep it as a souvenir. You can put it up on your bedroom wall next to the One Direction posters. There you go. That's it.
Oh my God.
Yes, but I go by the name of Craig.
Okay, so the next question is from Sidwell Magic, and Sidwell says, "Hey Craig, I'm beginning to step up and become more of a professional magician. Fantastic. I'm starting to market myself and I have a website, but I see a lot of magicians with fancy testimonials from big names. Will testimonials from smaller restaurants and companies from gigs I've done in the past have the same effect, or is it better to not have a testimonial feature on my website just yet?" Well, there's 2 points on that that I think are very important. And the first point is, I don't think that a testimonial page on a website is all that, really. I think that these days, it's more useful to have reviews on a review website. Now, that might be Trustpilot, that might be Facebook, that might be Google, but I think people trust those review websites more. And the reason they trust those review websites more is because they know they're a third-party platform. When you talk about having a reviews page or a testimonials page on your website, you can put anything on there. You're in control of that website. It's your space. It's your domain. You can put whatever you want on there. So realistically, in my opinion, the best way to generate reviews isn't to just have them and put them onto a testimonials page. But the best thing to do is to really try and actively have a strategy in place within your business to try and generate interest in people leaving reviews on Google or Trustpilot or Facebook, because that's going to do a couple of things. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to help with your social proof. It's going to help with your digital footprint. And what I mean by that is when people search for you as a performer, what are they going to find? Well, if you've got reviews on review websites, that's going to come up top. That's going to come up high in a search of your name, because of how those websites work. So if you've got, the reviews going up on various different review websites talking about how amazing you are, when people are searching for you, and people do that, let me tell you right now, that's what people do all of the time. Gone are the days where you just find somebody and you book them. It's so easy these days online to do research. Think about any magic trick that you buy. You probably go check out reviews, right? You might check out Magic TV, you might check out Magic Orthodoxy, the Wizard Product Review, Real Magic Reviews, whatever. Mark Oberon? Not Mark Oberon, Michael O'Brien, Tyler Lunsford, the list goes on and on and on. But you'll probably go and check out some reviews. You might check out forums, and then you'll decide whether to buy a trick or not, right? It's very rare that you just hit buy. Well, it's the same with booking an entertainer, more so because an entertainer can be more expensive. So having those review websites is very, very important, and pushing people to those review websites is very, very important. The other point that I want to make is you said, hey, you know, I don't have testimonials from celebrities and so on and so forth. Is that an issue? Well, what you have to understand is that the testimonials that you have should really speak to the clientele you're trying to attract. So what I mean by that is generally when you look at an industry, when you look at the marketplace, all of the people that you can possibly try to sell and having you as a performer, you're going to have roughly around about 10% that are premium customers. You're going to have 25% that are budget, and the rest are going to be value for money. The budget customers, they're the people that are just like bottom budget, right? They don't want to spend a penny. They're always trying to haggle people down. The most important thing is that they get a cheap deal. The premium customers are the people that just want to spend a fortune. Price is no object. They just want to spend the absolute most that they can spend, and they don't care how much it is. For them, it's a prestige thing. They want to be showing their friends and so on and so forth that they can afford the best. And they're the sort of people that would spend £25,000 a night on a hotel room, right? And then value for money are people in the middle. They're the people that have got that want a good service and are prepared to pay the right amount for that service, right? Now, the reason I'm pointing this out to you is a lot of the time it can be detrimental having those reviews on there. Having testimonials, if your website was nothing but, hey, Brad Pitt says this, Tom Cruise says this, yeah, all of this stuff. Well, your average Joe that's wanting a restaurant magician, or the average guy that's wanting to book a magician for a private party, is probably going to see all of that and not even inquire, because they're going to think, wow, this guy's out of my price range. That's just too expensive for me. So if you're starting out and your clientele and your focus is smaller restaurants and smaller companies and private parties and stuff like that, it's better to have testimonials from that sort of audience, because that will speak better to the people that are inquiring for you. You only really want to get testimonials from celebrities and so on and so forth when you're actually at a position where you can entertain for those type of people. At least that's my opinion. That's kind of what I've always gone down the route of. So in terms of testimonials, yeah, if you want a testimonials page on your website, that's fine. But it is absolutely vitally more important to have external social review websites, Facebook, Google, Trustpilot, places like that, and have a system in place within your business to push as many customers as possible to leave reviews on those platforms. The next question is from King OK, and King OK says, awesome video as always, thanks very much. When will Ryland have a penguin lecture? A long, long time away. Although I will tell you, you know, it was my birthday on the 12th of April, and my family took me out for the day, and we went to the cinema. I saw a really good film. They took me out to a shop to buy a new game for the Switch, because I really like computers. Computer games, and then they took me for a meal at TGI Fridays. And then after TGI Fridays, Ryland did a 20-minute show for me. And what was really cool is he'd been planning this 20-minute show, like, without me knowing. He hadn't told me anything. He'd been planning it all on his own, which is kind of really weird, because a lot of the time Ryland asks for help off me when he's putting stuff together. But he did this whole show without my help, and he put together a 20-minute show just with unique material that he created himself that I'd never seen before. So it was all new. He came up with this brand new cube routine. He came up with this new coin routine. And he finished off by doing a version of the quantum deck with happy birthday written on the card. And it was all themed to my birthday. And it was really sweet. It was just amazing. And it was all, I really, like the cube routine especially, I was like, this is really good. He had this trick where he had this cube, and he'd got a blank cube and put white stickers all over it, and he said, this is a cube, this is what it looks like before it's printed, I'm going to put this on here, and he put it to one side. And then he had another cube, and he had me say stop. He did my timing force, cheeky little sausage. And then when I looked back at the white cube, he'd actually printed it. It magically printed, and it matched. It was really good, really good. So maybe one day. But The other question was, when will Keymaster be released? I'm planning on buying Chop and Keymaster together, along with Chop as a Craig Petty bundle would be amazing. Yeah, I mean, soon, man, soon. I know that they've got the gimmicks. I know that they've got the assets. I know that they've got the tutorial. I filmed it. I know that they've got the trailer. They've got the live performances. They've got everything they need. They've also having me go over to Magic Live to work with them on their stand. Now, if I was running Penguin and I had me going over to the stand, I'd want to launch a Craig Petty product that would be probably popular. So it would make sense to me that Keymaster got launched at Magic Live. That's when I think that it will come out, but how am I supposed? I don't know for sure, but I'd be willing to bet that by the end of May we'll be seeing Keymaster come out through Penguin Magic. So yeah, I don't know for sure, but that I haven't been told. I never got told when Chop was coming out. I didn't know. I just found out it had come out. I didn't even realise. And it's up to them. They've obviously got a lot of other stuff coming out. It's not just my products that Penguin have got out. They've got a lot of other stuff. And I'm sure there's a lot of factors that they take into consideration. But honestly, I think it's probably going to be a Magic Live, if I had to guess. Okay, so the next question is for Philip Osten. And Philip says, Craig, having purchased a couple of your effects that require roughing spray, I do love roughing spray. Can you say what spray you have used so I don't mix them? I use Krylon Easy Spray and Performer Rick's Rubber Spray. Thanks for reading this. Keep the magic alive. Regards, Phil. It's Krylon, man. Krylon Easy Spray is the one I use. I find it the best spray for anything. So yeah, Krylon. Krylon's the one that I use. So hopefully that helps. Okay, so the next question is from Punk BMX. Punk BMX says, hi Craig, thanks for all you do for the community. You're more than welcome. My question is, I've recently been made redundant and I want to throw I want to throw more time into my magic. Really cool. I have ideas for tricks, but not always methods in mind. How do you develop the two? As a hobbyist, how do I transition to performing without crapping my pants? Thanks again. So there's two parts to this question. So the first part is you've got ideas for tricks, but not methods. Well, give yourself a pat on the back because that is the hardest thing to come up with. A lot of the time, the hardest thing for a creator to come up with is an innovative effect. The method normally works itself out over time, but the effect is normally the thing that becomes the most difficult thing to come up with. So the fact that you've got lots of ideas for tricks and lots of ideas for effects is really good. So how do you come up with methods? Really, it's just becoming well-read. It's about knowing, think of it as, okay, so think about, I don't know if you solve a Rubik's Cube, but if you solve a Rubik's Cube, think of it like solving a Rubik's Cube. So you can solve a Rubik's Cube with the beginner method relatively easy. You only need to know probably 6 or 7 algorithms, and you just have to go through a process, and then you can solve Rubik's Cube. So first of all, you make a white cross. Then when you've made a right cross, you use a couple of different algorithms to fill the corners in. Then you use 2 more algorithms to get the middle section done. Then you use 3 or 4 more algorithms to get the top done, right? You can solve a Rubik's Cube learning 6 or 7 algorithms, 7 or 8 algorithms, and as long as you follow that procedure, you'll learn to solve a cube. So why is Ryland able to solve a cube? Generally, it's around about 20 to 30 seconds every single time. Why can he solve a cube way faster than me? The reason he can solve a cube way faster than me is because he's just learned way more algorithms. So he knows F2L, which is like a whole bunch of different algorithms based on where the cube is, and then he's learned OOL, PLL, all of these different L's, and he's got bow tie, God knows what. He knows lots of different algorithms, so because of that, he's got more options when he goes to solve the cube. Whilst I have to do it a certain way, he actually ends up solving it a lot quicker because he can take shortcuts. Well, it's the same thing when you're creating a trick. When you're creating a trick, the more tools you know, the more methods, the more concepts, the more sleights that you know, the better you're going to be at coming up with a method to a particular trick. So, for example, there's a trick that I've been working on for the last few weeks, where basically you have somebody think of a card, and they have a free choice of a card, and there's a blank deck, and you just spread the deck on the table, and the card that they think of is the only card printed in the deck. That's the effect, okay? Now, there's been other things like that on the market, and I wanted to come up with my own version that was very different to anything else out there. And I wanted it to just literally be, I spread, because a lot of them is, You know, like you have to take out certain cards, and I wanted it to be that I could show the front blank, I could show the back blank, and there's one card that's printed and it's the card, and it's literally as clean as just spreading the deck out like that. I've come up with a solution for it. And the reason I've come up with a solution for it is because I've got certain slights, principles, and concepts that I've been aware of for years that I've now kind of joined together to come up with the solution to this trick that I was trying to come up with, right? I'd never used two of those principles before, but I knew of them, I was aware of them, I'd learned them, but I learned them knowing that I didn't need them, but I might need them in the future. And now I'm in a point where I've got this routine, and I was like, well, that's going to be absolutely perfect for what I'm wanting to achieve. So that is a perfect example of the creative process, right? So the advice I can give you is just become very well read. You know, just become really well read. Learn as many moves as you can. Learn as many sleights as you can. If you want to become a creator, you don't need to do this if you want to be just a performer. But if you want to be a creator, if you want to create magic, you need to have a deep toolbox. You need to have as many access to as many tools as you can. So that's the big piece of advice that I'll give you on that. The other question is, as a hobbyist, how do I transition to performing without crapping my pants? Well, understand that there's a big difference between what you talked about earlier on, which is creating, and performing. You know, I've spoken to people in the past and they've said, you know what, I want to perform, but I want to come up with all my own material first. I want to come up with all my own, I want everything in my act to be completely unique. I don't want to be a copy of somebody else. And my attitude is very, very simple. The best way to become good at performing is by going out and doing it. And when you say stuff like, oh, you know, I'm not ready because I need to put this together, I'm not ready, that's just procrastination. You're never going to be ready. The only way that you're going to get good at being a performer is flight time. Experience. The more gigs you do, the more performing you do, the better you're going to be. So how do you transition from a hobbyist to a performer without crapping your pants? Well, first of all, you need to get experience at performing. That might be starting off by going down the pub every night or going down the bar every night and hanging out with friends and showing them magic. It might be going down to a bar, you know, and just showing magic to random strangers where there's no pressure on you from a client to perform. Then it might be going to open mic nights, or it might be contacting a restaurant and asking to perform for free for experience. It might be going to an old person's home and offering to perform for free for experience. Getting that flight time. You know, the problem is a lot of people that get into magic these days, they want to miss the steps. They want to go from coming into magic to being a world-class successful magician without going through the steps. And you can't skip the steps. You've got to do everything that you can do to try and make sure that ultimately you're going to be successful. And you can't skip those steps. You really can't. And that's an important thing to really think about. You've got to get, step one, get good at performing. Go and perform at every opportunity that you can. You're going on train somewhere, take a pack of cards, start shuffling a pack of cards. Somebody will say, can I see a trick? You start performing for them. You go to a bar, do some magic. You go out for a meal, do some magic. You see your friends, do some magic. Just get experience at performing. Because the more experience you've got as performing, then when you actually go out and you do a paid gig, you're going to be less nervous because you're used to performing. If you go to a gig and you've never really performed before, obviously you're going to be nervous because it's new. But if you've got experience performing, even if it's for random people and friends and family and strangers, when you get into that gig environment, you're going to feel less nervous, right? That's the first thing. And then understanding that you're going to be nervous when you first start performing for money. When you first start going out and doing gigs, you're going to be nervous. That's not a problem. Being nervous is good. If you're nervous, it means you care. Okay? If you didn't care about the performance and you didn't care about how it went, you wouldn't be nervous. So you care, and caring is a really good thing. Okay? So that's the biggest piece of advice I can really give you. How do you not crap your pants? Then the best way is by getting as much flight time and getting as much experience of performing as you can, so that when you go out and you do it, it kind of feels natural because you've been doing it for so long already. Okay, so the next question is Magic with Dimitri, and Magic says, you've mentioned the Hows and Whys of the Out to Lunch video. Is that one still in the pipeline? That's one of the tricks I've never done before, but I'd love to start doing it. For sure, man. Yeah, Hows and Whys of the Out to Lunch principle, that's coming, and it's coming soon. I'm filming over the next 2 to 3 weeks a lot of Out to Lunch videos. A lot of How and Why videos to drip over the next 2 to 3 months. I'm doing the Wow, I'm doing the Out to Lunch, I'm doing a few different ones. And that's one's definitely on my list. So yeah, basically, look out for it. Okay, so the next question is from Magic Elliot. How you doing, man? I hope you're okay. Congratulations on the launch of Netrix. Thank you. You work so hard to promote Magic. Really hope this project is successful. Thank you so much. My question is, what would you do if somebody handed you one card and asked you to do a trick? Could you do a video on tricks with one card? I love that idea. I love Robert Neal's Trapdoor card and David Forrest's Smoke Rings. You know what? I love that idea. I think that that's something that we should definitely do. I think we should do a video on the 3 best tricks with one card that you've never seen before. And I'll probably have other ideas when I put that video together. But off the top of my head, and it is literally off the top of my head. So one thing that I would probably do is if I have one card, and this is something I've done before, if I've got a card to wallet, like an Orphic wallet, and to be honest, when I'm out and about, I always have my Orphic wallet with me, I would take the one card and I'd have them sign it, and I would put it away in my pocket. I'd say, we're going to get back to that in a minute. I need my wallet. And what I'd do is I'd gamblers cop the card. So I'd go to put that card away and I'd gamblers cop it. And I'd say, I also need a wallet. I think I've got my wallet somewhere. And then I'd transfer it from gamblers cop to full palm in the right hand. I'd say, I think I've got my wallet somewhere. And I keep my wallet in my left-hand jacket pocket. So I'd then go from this is a Gary Kurtz technique. I'd go from right-hand full palm to loading the card here as I open up this this part of the jacket, show this hand empty, take the card and go into the wallet and load the card into the card to wallet. So in other words, that whole thing would look like this. You'd put the card away. You'd say, I'm going to get back to your card in a minute, but I also need my my wallet. And then I'd come in here, take the wallet out, and I'd say, there's a reason I want the wallet. The reason is I keep a card in my wallet. If this was the same card as the one that we put in my pocket, would that be good? And they go, yeah. And you say, what if it was the one with the card? You put the card in the wallet, and then you show their signature on there, which is really strong. Now, you can do that without a wallet. So you can do that by having them sign the card, just put it in the pocket and gamblers pocket out and say, you know what's really weird? You gave me one card, right? And you gave me a joker. If I told you I had the joker inside this pocket, if I told you I made a prediction, I've just dropped it there on the floor, let's get a different card. Oh dear me, terrible. So it goes into the pocket like that, yeah? You then show your hand empty and you say, if I told you I had one card here as a prediction in my wallet, would that be good? In my pocket, would that be good? Yeah, if I predicted that you'd pick the King of Clubs, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Not only did I predict how you'd pick the King of Clubs, I actually predicted how you'd sign your name. So that's a really fun thing to do, right? That's a really fun thing to do. Now, the other thing that I do, which I've done with a credit card in the past, is if somebody but it would work very well with a credit card, if with a playing card as well. Sorry, you take the credit card and you want to put it away and palm it out. Okay, so it could be that you don't want to palm it out, but you want it in your right hand pocket. So it could be that you just openly put it into your right hand pocket and you say, I'll get back to that a little bit later on. Or it could be that I put it here into my top pocket and I palm it out into like a gambler's palm. And I say, I need a coin. But ultimately, you then go into this pocket to get the coin and you load the card in there. So that way, you're not loading it, you're not openly putting it into that pocket, right? So it looks like you've put it up there into that pocket. If you've got a Mullica wallet or an SUC peak built into a wallet, you could steal it out of a wallet and you could put the wallet on the table. But if I was just had a shirt on like this, I'd probably just steal it out the shirt, go into the pocket for the coin, and leave it in there. Now you could do a one coin flurry. And we talked about this on the channel before, don't underestimate how powerful a one coin flurry is. But you know, take the coin, put it over there, make it jump over there, take the coin, make it jump over there, take the coin, put it to this elbow, make it jump out this elbow, take the coin, put it on the table, look, it looks like it's invisible, it's still there, you don't see it until I squeeze and it comes back. If I put it back on the table again, it's right there, look, you can't see it, and now it's back on the table, all that sort of stuff. And then you eventually go to put it in your pocket. So you put it in your pocket, but really you leave it over here because you're doing a false transfer. and you grab this and you pull it out from over here, and you say, of course, the weird thing is, if I've got if I rub the coin, it turns into the card that was in my pocket, and now you come up here and you take the coin out over there. So the final phases of the flurry is the transposition, and they really do believe that the card was up there, and they've probably forgotten about the card because they're just seeing the coin stuff. It then comes back, and it's a bit of a shock that it comes back, and then you show the coin was where the card is. And all that is obviously, you know, you've put it in there, you've stolen it back out with a gambler's flat palm or whatever. When you go into the point that you want to do the change, you just do a false transfer, palm the card in a full palm as you bring the coin back, show the coin and just do a thumb palm switch. So you just come over and you thumb palm the coin as you leave the card in its place. And that is an example of an offbeat that we talked about earlier, because to see that the coin has turned into the card, I've got this in thumb palm, so I can now reach up here where the card was and pull the coin out. And now you've had a really nice transposition, and the card is being used to do a you know, just like a really nice transposition. The other thing is, let me see if I can get all of these. I think I've got some. This is meant to be $half, but we'll see if we can make this work. The other thing is, I've got this routine called 3C1CM, which stands for 3 coins, 1 card matrix. And if somebody was going to give me a card and I had 3 coins, I'd probably do this, which is having the card examined, having the 3 coins examined, and then dropping the coins over here and say, right, the idea is very simple. I want you to watch the 3 coins very carefully. I'm going to try and make them jump one at a time. I'm going to start off with this coin. Okay, so we're going to do this coin first of all. Then we'll do these 2. Watch, if I just take this coin and squeeze, I can have it disappear. That leaves us with 2 coins, 1, 2. And the interesting thing is the first coin has actually jumped right there underneath the card. Now you might have missed that, so I'm going to do it again. That's the first coin that's gone. Let me try that again with the second coin. Look, if I just do this, the second coin disappears. Look at that. That just leaves us with 1 coin. And the second coin is over there. Isn't that incredible? That leaves us with 1 final coin. Watch. This is the last coin. I'm going to make this last coin jump. If I just snap, I can make that last coin jump. Of course. Oh no, hang on a minute. It's gone the wrong way. It's will have all gone right there and you know, back into the hand. Yeah, I normally only do that with $half, but I think it worked quite well with dollars. And that's kind of a matrix routine with just 3 coins and just 1 card, and there's no extras and there's no gimmicks. That's a nice thing that I like to use an awful lot as well. And you know what? If I'm doing a place where there's kids and I've got a card, what I will absolutely do is, and I don't know if you've studied The Frog Prince by Michael Close, but I love that routine. I absolutely love that routine. And one thing that I love is, if I'm not in a situation where I'm performing it, I love making the frog up, the jumping frog for kids. Kids absolutely love this frog. During the pandemic, when I was doing virtual kids shows, I was actually, for older kids, I was teaching them how to make this. Kids love this. It's a great thing to teach kids to do. But, you know, if you've got a younger kid, just making a little frog, and that was a quick version, but it's good enough. It's really nice. And then what you can do is you can have the little frog jump. I've made this so badly. Please jump. There you go. I hope he's going to jump. There you go. There he goes. So yeah, so if there's kids, I'd probably just take the card and just turn it into a frog, to be honest, and say, hey, if I could turn this into a frog and then give it you back, would that be good? It would. Let me show you this. So yeah, there's a few examples, but you know what? We should do a video on this. I'm going to do a video. I'll probably come up with a few other ideas, but it's a very good question. Okay, so the next question is from Mark Henry. Mark says, the Netrix, I knew it would be good, but I'm still blown away by how much information there is in there. Incredible. Thank you. If you have not subscribed yet, you're missing out. Thank you. My question is, will there be any Svengali-based routines on the Netrix? You know what? Eventually, yes. However, I am doing, with 1914, I am doing the follow-up to Visible. And the follow-up to Visible, which was always planned, was going to be a project just on Svengali deck. And I've got like 14 routines that are part of that project. Those 14, it wouldn't be fair for me to put that on the Netrix and then put it on 1914's project as well. So they'll be exclusive to the 1914 project. However, anything that I come up with or think of beyond those initial 14 routines will absolutely go on the Netrix. So for example, in a couple of months, I've got a killer invisible deck routine that's going on the Netrix. It's a killer invisible deck routine. I'm telling you right now, you're going to absolutely love it. And obviously, I've already filmed Visible, and this is another thing that came out off the back of doing Visible. This is another routine with an invisible deck. That's going to go onto the Netrix. So yes, there will be Svengali content going on there at some point, but it won't probably be until the end of the year. And thank you, by the way, for saying so many nice things about the Netrix. Okay, another question now from Magic Elliott. And Magic Elliott says, second question, I love the one ahead principle, but I don't like the idea of getting people to name any word, then any number, and then choosing a card. I agree, I hate that. It seems a bit random and turns it into a card trick when it doesn't need to be. Could you do a video on getting the most from the one ahead principle and share any thoughts about alternative forces for the third prediction, i.e. not forcing a card? 100%. I do a lot with one ahead. Especially when it comes to mentalism. Me and Lloyd have got a project coming out together through Murphy's that has a few different routines using the one ahead principle in there. So yeah, absolutely 100%. One thing that I will tell you that I do an awful lot, just as a sneak peek to that video, is use gossip. If you have my routine gossip, right? And if you don't know what gossip is, it looks like it's a torn out page of a magazine, and it allows you to have somebody apparently have a free choice of 100 celebrities, whilst in reality, you're restricting their choice to 1 in 5, and then using one very simple bit of non-fishing. It's not even fishing. It's like, I call it non-fishing. It's passive fishing. It's not even fishing because you're actually making a direct statement. It's a correct statement. You're able to work out exactly who the celebrity is. So a lot of the time, if I'm doing like an impromptu one ahead thing, and I do that an awful lot with 3 business cards or with a post-it notepad, what I'll do is I'll start off by presenting gossip. And I'll say to somebody, you know, I'll start with the gossip presentation. So I'll say to somebody, you're going to think of a celebrity, do me a favor, blah, blah, blah. I'll go through the presentation with gossip. So they're thinking of a celebrity. And I, as I'm presenting to them, I do the bit of non-fishing, so I know who they're thinking of. Let's say they're thinking of Brad Pitt. Now, from their point of view, I haven't got a clue who they're thinking of. No clue. They've just thought of a celebrity, and they've folded a piece of paper up and put it away in your pocket, right? Now, you're not going to use that to do the baby gag, which is what you normally do with gossip. Instead, you're then going to go into a one ahead thing. You go, okay, brilliant. I'm going to get back to that in a little bit later on. Can you think of that? That's amazing. So, right, first person, you right there, sir. Can you do me a favor? Can you think of a city? Can you think of a city? That's amazing. And then you're going to write down Brad Pitt. Boom. Brilliant. What city are you thinking of? Copenhagen. Amazing. So you can say to the second person, okay, what was your example? It was city, number. Okay, word, number. Okay, right. You said word number, so let's use that as an example. So the first person's thinking of a celebrity, they're thinking of Brad Pitt, but from their point of view, you don't know what they're thinking of. You say, right, we'll get back to that in a minute. You say to this person, I want you to think of a word. Any word. Wonderful. Brad Pitt. Amazing. What was the word you were thinking of? Banana. Perfect. I'd like you to think of any number. You write down banana, put it down. What were you thinking of? 437. Great, that's amazing. Okay, you over there, we need one more thing. I know, you're thinking of a celebrity, aren't you? Yes. Let me just write down. Okay, we'll put that down there. For the first time, you had a choice of 100 different celebrities. Who are you thinking of? I'm thinking of Brad Pitt. Okay, amazing. And then you've got the revelation. And you're not having to use a phone. You're not doing digital force bag or anything like that. You're not having to use a pack of cards. It's something that you can just fold up and put in your wallet. And to be honest, a lot of the time when I'm doing gossip, I'll be using it as a one ahead principle. That's how I really like to use it. So it's a way of doing exactly what you wanted there, which is doing the one ahead principle, but without actually needing to incorporate a deck of cards into it in order to do that force. And the nice thing is, it's not even a force. They actually are having a free choice. It's just that you're limiting their choice. So it feels even stronger than doing like a riffle force or something like that. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully that helps, but I will put a video on this subject at some point in the future. Okay, it's come to that time of the Q&A again. My favourite guy, the drunk magic ukulele player. Craig, as we are aware that Sooty can do magic, yes he has, because as you say, he has a wand and all the easy wizzy let's get busy stuff. Have you noticed that he's quite handy with a water pistol and keeps squirting Sweep? Do you think it's time that Sweep started squeaking up for himself? Absolutely. In all honesty, I've always thought that that relationship is a bit dodgy. I've always thought that Sweep is just really being held down by Sooty. It's obvious that Sooty has performance anxiety issues. I mean, it's just obvious, right? Because he never talks. He never talks. And yet, for some reason, he's been positioned the star of the show. Sweep, man. Sweep is there, squeaking his little heart out every single week. He's the one that everyone comes to see. But Sooty is the glory hound. It's always the Sooty show. If I was Sweep, you know, before he ends up going postal, because I think that could happen and there'd be fluff everywhere. Before that happens, I really do think that Sweep needs to like make a clean break and go and get his own show. And to be honest, I think Sue would go with him. I really do. I don't think Sue would stick around. I think Sue would go with him. I think it'd be Sue and Sweep. And then, to be honest, I think Sooty would just end up without Sweep and without Sue. I don't think he'd go anywhere, man. I don't think Sooty would end up even having a career. He'd probably end up like in the newspapers in 15 years' time. You know, where are they now? And you see a battered up Sooty. He's out on the lash. He's absolutely drunk. He's got no money. He's claiming benefits, and it all went wrong because of his ego. And he could have had it all, but unless he reins that ego in, to be honest, I think Sweep's gonna steal the show very, very soon. Okay, so the next question is from Sting, and Sting says, hello again, Craig. Hello, Sting. I have more questions for you. First of all, I received the coffee cups and bean set, and I was looking forward to the routine of Ryland, but couldn't find it on the tutorial page at Murphy's Magic. Maybe I'm overlooking something. I watched Adam's video, and also the second video in the works of Michael O'Brien, Julian, and the others, but I didn't see Ryland there. Am I missing something? Thanks for any hint. Yes, I think you are. I spoke to, you're not the first person to say this to me. I spoke to Felix about this, and apparently it's been sent to Murphy's, but there was an issue with it going on the tutorial page. But I think it's up there now, as far as I'm aware. I think that Ryland's performance and explanation is up there. So if you kind of go back and check the tutorial, I think you're going to find it. Any problems, let me know, and I'll chase it up with Felix. But from our point of view, he's got everything that he needs. He just said there was some issues with getting everything over to Murphy's. So beyond that, I'm not too sure. But I think that soon, if not now, you should have access to everything. Okay, so the next question is Sting. Sting again, and Sting says, I'd like to ask what your top 10 YouTube magic channels with reviews and more magical content like live shows, theory, tutorials, and so on, or maybe your top 20. I'll do a video on this. I will do a video on this. However, I think that one of the YouTube channels that's absolutely killing it at the moment is Lloyd Barnes, and I'm not just saying that because he's a very dear friend of mine. I think he is absolutely smashing it out of the park. I think he's absolutely destroying YouTube, and I'm so proud of him. It's so amazing to see, and his channel has become like the place to be. It is the place to be on YouTube, and he, the stuff he does is very different to what I do on Magic TV, but it just works. And Lloyd is such a clever, intelligent person. If you haven't seen Lloyd's channel, go check it out because he's doing great things on YouTube. Yeah, Lloyd's where it's at, to be perfectly honest. Although I will do a top 10. But to be honest, I think that in 2022 so far, there's one clear winner that's hands and feet above anyone else, and that's Lloyd Barnes. Okay, so the next question is Christian Stamate, and Christian says, hi Craig, I'd like to ask your advice on a problem. I'll try to be as brief as possible. I'm an amateur magician. I have another job, and before the pandemic, I had a few children's shows where I was going out with friends at pubs. They asked me to show them something, the typical hobbyist. After the pandemic, I stayed at home for 2 months. I saw that I could no longer show magic to people, as if something was holding me down. I've talked to psychologists and psychiatrists, and they both came to the same diagnosis: panic attacks and social anxiety. Their treatment doesn't really work. Do you have any advice on this issue? Thank you in advance. Man, this is I'm so sorry. Do I have any advice on how to get out there? Basically, what you're asking here is how do you get out there and start performing again, right? Because you're saying something's holding you back. Yeah, and the pandemic has done that to a lot of people. You're not the first person to say this to me, to be perfectly honest, Christian. You're not the first person to say this to me. But the thing you need to understand, and really all I can do is give you a pep talk on this, because I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. However, what I can say to you is 99% of everything I do, 99% of everything in life is mindset. And it's having the right mindset, having a positive outlook on stuff. And I know it's very difficult to do, especially as we've been through a global pandemic. I absolutely get that. But the bottom line is, you need to remember that before the pandemic, it's like you said, you're a typical hobbyist. You went down the pub with your mates and you were showing them magic. You did kid shows. So you have within you the ability to perform. Okay? Now, at the moment, you're finding that difficult. And that's absolutely fine. And a lot of the time that people find things difficult, it's because they're worried or they're nervous, and you need to figure out what's making you anxious in terms of, is it because you're trying to do something really overly complicated? What I would do, if I were you and I was in this situation, is there's a couple of things that you could do that might work. So the first thing is, just take it to its very, very basic level. Do something that requires absolutely zero sleight of hand. Do something where you don't have to worry about anything at all. So for example, just have a piece of paper that says 7 of diamonds on it, put that in an envelope, and have a deck of cards with the 7 of diamonds on the top. And then literally, because you obviously want to perform, you wouldn't be asking this question on this channel if you don't want to perform. And it's probably a bone of contention and frustration to you that you're finding it difficult to do that. So we need to work through that. So as I say, the first thing that I would do is make it really simple. Do a crosscut force. Go to somewhere, friends, people that you like, family, whatever it may be, and just say to them, look, I've got an envelope here. Can you hold on to that envelope? I've also got a deck of cards. Can you cut the deck and complete the cut? Very good. Now put inside that envelope a prediction of something that I thought was going to happen. Can you do me a favor? Can you open up that envelope and take out the prediction? What does it say? 7 of diamonds. Can you look at the card you cut to? 7 of diamonds. Now in the example there, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. They're opening up the envelope. They're cutting the deck. It's completely hands off. So there really shouldn't be anything there that's going to make you nervous, because a lot of the time people get anxious and people worry about performing because they're nervous. What happens if the trick goes wrong? What happens if it doesn't work? What happens if my hand starts shaking? What happens if my voice starts faltering? What happens if I can't remember what to do? Well, that's a very simple sequence. Hand someone an envelope, get them to cut the deck, get them to open up the envelope, get them to look at the card they cut to. It's about as simple as they can get. So you're taking all of the pressure out of that. And if that works and you don't feel nervous doing it, then do it again and do it again and do it again and just do that trick. Because I think when you start getting reactions back again, when you get back on the horse, it's that old expression, is it? It's riding a bike. When you start riding a bike and you fall off, you get back on the bike straight away. Because if you don't, you're going to put yourself into a situation where you're never going to ride a bike again. That's where we are with this. We've got ourselves into a situation where you haven't ridden a bike in a couple of years and now you're nervous about riding the bike. What's the best way to deal with that? Get back on the bike. You could ride the bike before. You can ride the bike. It's just there's a mental block stopping you from riding it again. So what you need to do is you need to start off by sitting on the bike and feeling comfortable and then have somebody push it for you. It's the same thing with magic. Start off small steps and then as you start getting reactions from that, build it up and build it up and build it up. The second thing that I would say is, are you nervous in every situation? Like, for example, do you connect with people over Zoom? Because I do. I speak to people over Zoom all the time. Even now in the UK that the pandemic has kind of effectively ended, in terms of restrictions and so on and so forth, I still speak to people on Zoom. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very convenient to speak to people on Zoom. So, can you do something? Is it that like you're in the same vicinity as somebody? Can you Zoom a friend and show them a trick? And does that make you nervous? You know, maybe you want to build up showing people stuff virtually. And the other thing that I'd say is go to a magic club. You know, you don't have to perform, don't perform, but just start immersing yourself in magic again. Start hanging out with like-minded people. Start watching people performing. And then eventually, before you know it, you're going to get back to where you were before. And please remember, you can do this. You can do this. You did this before. You've just got a mental block in front of you that's stopping you from doing it now. So it's just about removing that mental block. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. But that's the advice that I'd give you. Okay, so the next question is from CJR Mystic, and CJR Mystic says, I'm assuming you've carried the Chop gimmicks and your smartphone at the same time. Do you make an effort to keep them away from each other so the gimmick doesn't destroy your phone, or is magnetism not strong enough? Or is the magnetism not strong enough? I've had the Chop gimmick right next to my phone for an entire gig many, many times, and it's never caused an issue at all. Although it's a strong magnet, it's not strong enough really to cause any damage. I mean, at least in my experience. I mean, you want to try and keep it separate wherever possible. I try to put it in my top pocket, and I have my my phone in a different pocket. But in all honesty, I've never had an issue. So yeah, that's all I can say. I personally have never had an issue with it. I mean, I don't know about anyone else. I've never heard anyone else say they've had an issue with the phone and the Chop gimmick, but I don't think it would be a problem. Okay, so the next question is from Sean Andretrack, and Sean says, do you have any good resources for learning an in-the-hands full riffle shuffle? Any good tips with practicing learning it? Well, tips with practicing learning a full shuffle is the same with practicing learning anything. Just do it. You know, just do it and do it and do it and do it and do it. Just practice it until it becomes perfect. In terms of good riffle shuffles, John Carey has got a really good one on the Netrix, actually. People can review stuff on the Netrix, and we've been getting some really great reviews for his in-the-hands full shuffle. It's not one that I've learned, but I remember John showing it me and having it completely fool me. It was a really good, very different version of the in-the-hands full shuffle. That's on the Netrix under the John Carey section. We launched with that. In terms of an in-the-hands full shuffle, okay, so I think this is the one that I tend to use. It's called the Truffle Shuffle, which looks like that. And that's the one that I use when I'm doing mem deck work. It's just literally shuffling the deck and doing that. We're putting a full shuffle section onto the Netrix Slight section in the next month, because there's a full cut section, but there's not a full shuffle section. And so we're adding that, and I'm going to be going through a whole bunch of full shuffles like this. That's a really good one. Another really good one is, you know what, if you can, I've never seen anyone do this, but if you're doing it in a very casual way, this is one that can really work. If you can do a Pharaoh shuffle, so that these cards are being shuffled into these cards. And as you just square them up, just do a side jog of all of the cards that have been pushed in. So it looks like you've done a Pharaoh shuffle and you've squared the cards up, and then just give the cards a cut, you know, and you completely back into the same thing. So all you're doing here, take off less than the full deck. So take off like 20 cards and shuffle that into the bigger portion of cards. All you're going to do is you're just going to push in like this at an angle and come out like that in a straddle grip, but your right hand's going to be covering everything. When you've come out in a straddle grip, you just hold the cards in this position for a while, and you just talk, and then you can just do a cut onto the table, and you've basically stripped out those cards. And if you do it at full speed, you say, look, I'm going to do me a favor. I'm going to give these cards a shuffle, and we're going to try and do something. So I'm going to give these cards a really good shuffle. I need someone to help me. Someone can help me. Hello there, sir. You're going to help me. You look very excited about this. I really appreciate the help. Thank you. What I'd like you to do is you're going to name a number for me. Is that okay? I'll just give the cards a cut. Now, notice there that I'm not focusing attention on the deck. This is the sort of shuffle that if you focus attention on the deck, people are going to maybe pick up that there's something dodgy going on. But if you don't put any emphasis on the deck, so you can put emphasis on this part because you can show it's really thoroughly being shuffled, but then, you know, pick somebody from the audience as you square up, pick somebody from the audience. And then when when they look back, it looks like you've just squared up the cards, and then you know, as you do the cut, you've done the strip out, and that works really, really well. That's a really good shuffle. I mean, the other shuffle that I've always really liked, you haven't specifically mentioned like riffle shuffles or anything. This is a shuffle that I actually learned many, many years ago from a book, and I think it was a Paul Daniels book. And if you're talking to the audience and you're just giving the cards a shuffle, this feels really fair. You know, you're just talking to people, you're apparently just shuffling the cards, and you're just chatting them, and you're just shuffling them. It replicates how a layman shuffles, because magicians, when they do this sort of shuffle, they do it like that. But laymen normally take clumps of cards off like this. It replicates how a layman shuffles. And what's actually happening here is you're holding the deck in an overhand grip position, as if you're about to do an overhand shuffle. And you pull off a third of the deck. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to pull off the next third, the middle third. And as you do, your ring finger and your thumb are going to steal back the portion that you just shuffled off. So you're just going to steal that back as you pull off another third. Okay, so again, you're here, you steal that back. So that's the original top portion right there. And then all you're going to do is you're going to apparently shuffle off the last bit. This, and as you come forward, this third here that you stole back is going to go on top of the deck. And then these just go at the back, which was the original back half. So it just keeps the deck in exactly the same order. So it just looks like that. So top third, and then that's the middle third, the top third's there, and you just put the top third back and put that to the bottom. But you as you're talking to the audience and you say, you know what, we're going to do something with the deck of cards here. I need somebody to come and help me. Who would like to help me with this trick? I need somebody to come up and help me. And as you're saying that, you're just apparently shuffling the cards as you're talking, but you're keeping the cards in exactly the same order. So that's a really nice shuffle as well. I mean, there's millions. I could do an entire video on full shuffles, which is why we're adding a section onto the Netrix on full shuffles. But those three there are three really good shuffles that will give your audience the impression that you're actually shuffling the cards, which ultimately is what you want. Okay, so the next question is from Colin Ryder, and Colin says, hey Craig, can the chop cut be performed with the new UK Polymer banknotes? Yes, it can. I actually go through that on the project. It can be performed with the UK Polymer banknotes, no problem at all. Plus I go through lots of other things that you can use with it as well, instead of banknotes, because sometimes people don't want to use banknotes. So there's lots of other options. I go through everything. Okay, so the next question is from Bobby Jenkins, and Bobby says, you've been doing a lot of routines with... you've been doing a lot of routines recently with the Mirage coin set. Are you going to put your Mirage DVD on Netrix, as you cannot get it anywhere? All the sites you have visited said it's not in stock or discontinued. Putting it on Netrix would just frustrate people, because the gimmicks that you need, you can't get. You can't get the gimmicks. It's a custom created gimmicked coin set. And you can't get you couldn't buy the gimmicks to do the Mirage coin set. So me putting the routines and tutorials on the Netrix wouldn't help, because it would just frustrate people, because they go on there to learn it and they wouldn't be able to because they wouldn't have the coins. However, I might be bringing the Mirage coin set out again in the not too distant future. All I can say to you is watch this space. Hashtag Alakazam. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so the next question is from Liam Mitrovic, and Liam says, what are your two favourite coin gimmicks? Flip a coin and split coin. Those are the two. They made my reputation back in the day. Back when I first started in Magic, two of the first projects I bought out were the Flip a Coin project and the Split Coin project, Split Happens. Those were the first two projects I put out, and I basically made a name for myself off those two projects, and you know, I still love them. I mean, I love all coin magic, everything. I love everything about coin magic, including every single gimmick under the sun. But if you had to nail me down to two coin gimmicks, it would have to be the split coin and the flipper coin. So the next question is from Sean Andertrack, and Sean says, question, have you heard any interesting products that might be released at Magic Live? I hear both you and Lloyd will be attending. I hope to shake your hands and say hi. Yes, me and Lloyd will both be there, which is going to be super exciting. The whole of the Murphys crew are going to be there. A lot of the guys from Penguin are going to be there. Alakazam are going to be there. I'm pretty sure 1914 are going to be there as well. Any interesting products? I'm going to be doing a Magic Live video at some point. So I'm going to be doing what to expect at Magic Live, and that's going to be coming up soon. You know what? I know that Alakazam have got something special that's getting launched at Magic Live, and it might have something to do with the previous question that I got on this Q&A. I'm not saying any more, but I'm sure you guys can figure that out. I think that's a pretty big thing that Alakazam are bringing out. As for anything else, I don't know. I will be finding out nearer Magic Live, and I'll let you know. I'll keep my ear to the ground for you. And yes, please do come and shake my hand. And shake Lloyd's hand as well, but be careful, I don't know where it's been. So the next question is from Junior Rodriguez, and Junior says, can you do some video tutorials on N2G coins? Absolutely love your segment on RBG. I'd love to see what you come up with. Yes, I'm just trying to figure out what to do with it. I've had so many people ask me to do that. I am going to do that. I'm just thinking about doing like one super long video on the Netrix, broken down into sections with like different routines that you can do with it. I don't know, because I don't like the idea of putting stuff on the Netrix that people can't do because they need a custom coin set. But you know, also I don't really do tutorials on YouTube either, do I? So it's kind of like, which way do I go with it? Maybe you guys can help me. What do you think I should do? I don't really do tutorials on YouTube. I have the Netrix. I can upload it as a thing on the Netrix. I do have some really original routines with the RBG coin set. What should I do? Let me know in the comments. So next question is from Illusionist Ed Zeus, and Illusionist says, hey, what are your thoughts about sideshows? Do you like that kind of stuff? Is it a good idea to mix with magic? Thanks. I don't really know much about it, to be honest. I cringe every time I see somebody do blockhead or sword swallowing. I think it's incredible, but I think I cringe. It makes me go, I know when I see contortionists, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't watch. I have to look away. But I do think it's also an incredible skill, an incredible talent. I don't really have much of an opinion on it, though, because I don't really know how to do it myself. I don't really do it myself. But what I would suggest is you go and watch the video that I did on Talk Magic, or listen to it on the podcast with Daniel Dorian Johnson. Because obviously he spent years working as a sideshow artist. He spent years working as a sword swallower. And it was a very interesting interview. So you might want to go and check that out. That's, you know, he knows a lot more about this sort of stuff than I do. So the next question is from Brandon Ivy, and Brandon says, I hear you talk about the chop cup a lot, so much that if I hear the word chop, I have to pause the YouTube to make sure my wife's not around. You risk me getting busted on one of the few concepts she does not know about. I also love the idea of chop cup. I do Don Allen's routine with a TCC leather cup and an RNT Don Allen cup. Have you seen the Roger Niquat bar cup reloaded? Yes, I've got one. I would like to see a review of that. Okay, I'll make it happen. Okay, my question is, how do I dislodge the ball without banging it? Is there a proper way to dislodge the ball or adjust it? It only seems to dislodge in live shows. In one-on-one with other practice, it works every time. So you have issues with it coming out on live shows. Right, yeah, I mean, the thing about chop, first of all, if you want to make sure that that ball drops every single time, without trying to be too funny, get chop. Because the whole idea of chop is it's a way of actually controlling the drop of a ball. And you don't have to use a build. You can use a chop cup ball or a TCC ball or anything like that. And you can use any cup you wanted to. You can actually use chop with a chop cup, or with a normal cup from Cups and Ball sets, or with a ceramic coffee cup. It doesn't have to be a cardboard cup. But chop allows you to control the drop of the ball. So the first thing is, if that's an issue for you, you might want to look into chop. The other thing that I would say is, if you're, it's all about, and I do a lot of chop cup routines. I've got a lot of chop cups. The other thing that I would say is, it's all about the magnet strength. That's what it's all about. It's all about the strength of the magnet versus the strength of the ball. Whenever I buy a new chop cup, I'm always testing it to make sure it's good. And when I see a chop cup come out and the magnet strength is bad, I hate that. So in the case of a chop cup, what you want to do is you want to be able to dislodge it. It doesn't want to be too strong. I see chop cups that are too strong, and that's when you have to bang it for it to come down. And I hate seeing that, where performers just place it down gently, place it down gently, place it down gently, and then bang it. Ryland does that, and it drives me up the wall, and I keep telling him not to do it. It's much better if you want to have it so that when you put it down, it dislodges. And when you put it down gently, it doesn't. Now, that's going to make people nervous, because a lot of magicians, they like that strong magnet, because they don't like to worry about, oh my God, have I accidentally dislodged the magnet? But the way to make sure that it looks flawless is to practice with the chop cup until you get to a point that you can do it imperceptibly. You don't want to have that really strong magnet there. So it's all about the magnet strength. And, you know, a chop cup can be great and it can look great, but if the magnet strength is off, or or you're not using the balls that come with the chop cup, and therefore, you know, that might affect things, it'll end up looking badly. So you want to get a cup that dislodges when you put it down, but when you don't put it down, it still looks exactly the same, but that's when you dislodge it. That's really what you want to go for, to be honest. And once again, without being too salesy, check out Chop, because it's going to allow you to do that every time without worrying about how you put it down or when you put it down. And the final question is from Zombie Guy MC. How you doing, Zombie Guy? Zombie Guy says, "Hi Craig, I'm a young magician and I was wondering if you'd offer any advice for getting gigs for 15-year-olds. I would love to have more experience in performing to the general public and possibly earn some money to invest in a few tricks that I really want but can't afford." My advice is to get restaurants. My advice when you're 15 years old is to approach a restaurant and get a couple of residencies. A restaurant will allow you to really have performance experience, and that's what you want at your age. You want flight time. You want to have that experience of going out and performing to lots and lots of people, and a restaurant does that. You'll be able to perform to lots and lots of people every single night. You're going to have a new audience, and you're going to be able to like work new material in and then try it out and seriously get yourself a restaurant. And if you talk about making a few bucks, I totally get that. And you go to a restaurant, you aim it right, you can make a little bit of money as well. The nice thing about a restaurant is you can go in and say, look, I'm 15 years old, I'm wanting to get experience, I'm really good, but I need more experience. So I'm happy to come in and do a massively cheaper rate than anyone else just to get that experience. But I promise you that everyone's going to absolutely love what I do. That's what you want to do. And I don't want to go too much into on this video how to get restaurant residencies without trying to sound too salesy. On the Netrix, there's a video that me and Steve put together about how to get restaurants, and there's a lot of stuff on marketing advice on how to approach restaurants as well that we're going to be uploading in the coming weeks and months. But you don't need that. Ultimately, the key thing is it's a numbers game. You approach enough restaurants and they're going to say yes. They're just going to say yes. Just pick restaurants that I would, at 15 years old, I would go for family restaurants where there's kids and there's adults. Go to a family restaurant and just it's a numbers game. Go in and introduce yourself. At the end of the day, you got to be proactive. That's what you've got to do. If you want to get ahead in life, you want to get ahead as a magician, you want to get ahead doing anything, you've got to be proactive. So you got to be there and you got to say, hey, my name's Zombie Guy. Maybe not. I want to be, I'm a 15-year-old, I'm a magician, I'm really good, but I want some experience performing. Please, can you help me? And for anybody who says, oh, you can't get a restaurant at the age of 15, Ryland has a residency at the age of 9 with 2 other restaurants that want to work with him as well. So if a 9-year-old can do it, you can absolutely do it at 15. So that's my advice to you. Just go out, contact as many restaurants as you can. Be prepared to do a lower fee because it's going to give you flight time. It's going to allow you to give business cards out to hundreds of people, and they'll ultimately hopefully book you as well. It's great. There's no downside. Go out, get yourself a restaurant. So there you go, guys. That's another Q&A in the bag. Thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, there's going to be a review show special tonight at 9 o'clock. I'm reviewing Ollie Mealing's membership platform, mealing.co, okay? Mealing's membership. So that is going to be here at 9 o'clock tonight. Also, at 2 o'clock, there's going to be shorts. And at 6 o'clock, there's going to be a live. So there's a lot going up on Sunday. And then on Monday, it's 5 by 5 at 9 o'clock. Shorts at 2 o'clock, 6 o'clock, a Magic Live. There's a lot going right on here. There's a lot going on right here on Magic TV. So I want to say thank you once again for joining me. Don't forget, if you want to check out the Netrix, it is now ready to launch. You can try it out for 1 month and see what you think. You can cancel any time, but in all honesty with you, most people aren't because they're loving the experience. If you want to check it out, go to www.thenetrix.com and join the largest, fastest growing online streaming membership platform for magicians. Either way, thanks very much for checking me out on Magic TV. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.